What is ISO and how does it affect photo and video? ISO is one of the 3 ways you can change how bright or dark your image is, also known as its exposure. There's shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. The higher your ISO is, the higher the number, the brighter your image is going to be. The lower it is, the darker your image is going to be. ISO is essentially just how sensitive your camera sensor is to light. Again, the higher the number is, the more sensitive your sensor is, so it lets in more light and your image appears brighter. In the older days, or if you're hipster now and still shoot film, whenever you would buy a film cartridge, it would say something like Portra 800 or Portra 400. The number after it was its ISO speed. So, if people wanted to shoot nighttime photography when it's darker outside, they would need their image to be a little bit brighter. They would need the sensor to be more sensitive. So they would get a higher number ISOs, such as Portra 800. Whereas if they're shooting in the middle of the day when it's a lot brighter outside and they don't need that extra light from the ISO, they would get a smaller ISO speed, so they might get Portra 160. Here you can see on the camera, as we bring the ISO higher and higher, the image on the back of the screen gets a lot brighter. And as we bring it lower, the image gets darker. One thing to note though is that cameras do have a limit. The ISO does not go on forever, and certain cameras are better with higher ISOs than others. The higher your ISO goes, the more light it lets in, but also the more grain and noise will be in your image. You'll see that for a lot of cameras, after you get past ISO 3200, then your images start to get pretty grainy. You'll see a lot of weird artifacting and colors in there, so it just doesn't look natural. That's why people typically tell you to keep your ISO as low as possible to produce the best quality image. Cameras nowadays are advancing really fast, so there are cameras out there that are amazing in low light and do really good at high ISOs, but a rule of thumb is always to keep your ISO as low as possible. Toodles.